Sather with KS Dairy Consulting and Feed Supervisor software. I want to thank the organizing committee for inviting me to take part in this virtual dairy nutrition series. Today we're going to discuss how to use your feed management system, in this case Feed Supervisor, to analyze feed efficiency. First, I'd like to introduce you to our company. At KS Dairy Consulting, our background is in dairy nutrition and management. These experiences influence the ongoing development and enhancements that we put into Feed Supervisor. Feed Supervisor has been analyzing feed efficiency on dairy farms since 1996, for over 25 years now. Our system is extremely versatile, which allows us to meet the needs of single mixer systems, while also fitting in and meeting the needs of more advanced systems such as this, where we have multiple mixers being used at the same time. Management may be calling bunks. Milk is leaving the farm and being recorded. We're purchasing commodity mixes and harvesting forages. Everything that goes on in the dairy is monitored and managed. And the cool thing about it is that you can do it from anywhere in the world. FS Touch is really the core of Feed Supervisor. It meets the needs of many different types of feeders, whether it's management level feeders, where we want to give them full control of the feeding system right from the tractor cab, a weekend feeder where we just want the system to mirror what was fed the day before, or a task-oriented feeder, where all they need to do is hit the next button and everything plays out for them throughout the day. And permissions can be set up for whoever logs into the system based on their level of expertise and how much authority that management wants to give them. We're also going to look at and build our system around the concept of the dairy, whether it's a precision feeding system where we're balancing for dry matter intakes of each pen and milk production and components, etc., or if it's an efficiency or more of a feed them fast system where we just want to get feed down to all cows in all pens as quickly as possible. So these things are affected often by the milk market with which the dairy ships to. And that's why feed efficiency based on those milk markets helps the dairy producer make better decisions. So today we're going to analyze how to accurately calculate and evaluate feed efficiency using Feed Supervisor. We're going to cover feed efficiency at the cow level, and we're also going to look at the value of converting feed efficiency over to fat and energy corrected milk. The importance of looking also at the farm from 30,000 feet. You know, everything that's coming on the farm versus everything that leaves, including everything that's fed. So we're going to dig into these areas of feed efficiency. So the traditional approach to feed efficiency would just be to look at how much did we feed versus how much milk we received. How efficient then was the cow at converting feed that was fed to milk? Evaluating feed efficiency, though, starts with accurate dry matter intakes. And if we're going to look at this cow side, we have to have accurate dry matter intakes if we're going to accurately understand feed efficiency. So we're going to need to know how many pounds of feed that were fed, how many pounds of feed we cleaned up, along with how many cows we fed it to get dry matter intake. So cleanup. A lot of people really don't want to invest the time that it takes to actually weigh cleanup. But if you're really going to understand dry matter intakes, which is the key to feed efficiency, then you have to weigh your refusals or your cleanup. Dry matter intake is then we're able to record it or graph it on a daily basis. Now, a lot of people are looking for a dashboard that would basically give them one quick view, one quick glance at the feeding program to know if everything's going well. I'll argue that dry matter intake is that dashboard. If we're monitoring it daily, we will know if things are going well. And in that case, your dry matter intake line should be as smooth as a calm lake. Or if it's choppy. And when it gets choppy, that means something isn't going right. And we need to drill down and find out what's right or wrong. If you're not monitoring dry matter intakes on a daily basis, you're really overlooking a huge management tool. And you're also overlooking opportunities to say, hey, here's my cleanup. Why do we have empty bunks this many days in a row? Dry matter intake also lets us look at management decisions over time. In this case, a change was made here. Dry matter intakes stayed pretty constant. Milk production dropped. That means feed efficiency dropped as well. Not a good decision that is clearly defined by monitoring these numbers. The other part of feed efficiency that is crucial and is that we understand what the dry matter levels of our forages are, not only at harvest, but also at feed out. Now, managing dry matter levels of feeds can be very time consuming. But we think we've found the real answer to that issue with SIO-Cup. SIO-Cup allows us to know the percent dry matter of our feed ingredients in less than a minute. We can analyze corn silage, both green and ensiled, legume silage, both green and ensiled, grass silage, high moisture corn, and dry shell corn. This really narrows the gaps of being able to quickly monitor percent dry matter and really increases the accuracy of dry matter intakes and then feed efficiency. So once those things are all in place, here's a quick view of feed efficiency from just milk versus feed fed. We have a dry matter intake of just over 58 pounds. Our milk production is 88 and a half, and our feed efficiency is 1.52. Percent cleanup, 3.23. We can take it a step further to say, I ship to a cheese market where I'm getting paid on fat and protein. So rather than just looking at milk, we're going to look at feed efficiency for fat-corrected milk and for energy-corrected milk. This is really going to fine-tune things for you to say, we're getting paid more for fat, we're getting paid more for protein, and then also taking it one step further to say, how many pounds of actual fat and how many pounds of actual protein did I ship? So now we're looking at feed efficiency and maybe a number that that we're not quite so familiar with, because when we're looking at a 1.7, now when we start looking at this number, we're talking 0.11, something like that. So different ways of analyzing feed efficiency and just narrowing or zeroing in on the one that pertains to you and your market the most. The other side of things with feed efficiency that really brings value or really, sheds light on things is when you start to graph them and you see them tracking pretty close together here with it narrowing up fat and energy corrected milk versus just regular milk. So gives you different opportunities to graph and analyze where you're at with feed efficiency. So once you move beyond the cow level, once you say, okay, I understand feed efficiency for my cow, I understand the nutrition side of things, now we're going to start to take a bigger approach. So what are the things that when we look at full farm that affect feed efficiency? And there's different ways to analyze this. We're looking here at feed used. And feed used is defined by everything that enters the mixer. So whether it's feeding waybacks or cleanup back to the cows, our pre-mix levels for a given period of time, we can look at how many tons of each feed were fed, the value of each of these feeds, and also the percent that it makes up of our total feed cost. So feed used is what's put in the mixer. Feed fed is what's actually fed to the cows. If those two numbers differ, something's going on. So feed efficiency, in order to record accurate diameter intakes, we have to know how many pounds of feed were fed, we have to know how much feed was cleaned up, and we have to monitor the moisture of our forages and keep up-to-date pen counts so that we can accurately calculate diameter intakes and then get an accurate feed efficiency number. So now let's step back or look from above at the total dairy operation. Let's look at everything that comes onto the farm. And when we start to look at understanding where we are with carbon footprints, with neutrality, we have to look at the whole picture. So if we look at everything that is purchased or harvested, everything that's fed, which is what we're going to record with Feed Supervisor, and then keep track of everything that leaves the farm, whether it be milk, feed, all of these things are going to be recorded through a tandem effort by Feed Supervisor and Truck Supervisor. So along with just feeding the cows, what's going to affect feed efficiency at the farm level? One of the things can be operator performance. Did our feeders actually feed the cows what we wanted them to that day? And did they do it at the time that we wanted them to as well? So monitoring batch performances, monitoring whole day performance is extremely important when we're trying to manage total farm feed efficiency. The other thing that is often overlooked is inventory and shrink. I look at shrink, as really becoming that final frontier, an area in total dairy management that's often overlooked because people don't have a really good sense or good handle on how to do it or how to manage it. So when you look at a feed management system, the most underutilized segment of it is inventory. And at the same time, inventory and managing inventory is probably the most important piece in managing full farm feed efficiency. So shrink. Shrink comes in all shapes and sizes. And shrink today is not grandpa's shrink, what happened on his farm. It happens on beautiful dairy farms. And as an example of just taking one type of storage, and in this case, flat storage, I've observed shrink on different dairies ranging from 1.2 to 11.9%. And I've seen many people spend a lot of money eliminating shrink, if you will, without really even knowing what their shrink was. And in this case, if you're at a 1.2%, I would say you're doing great. If you're at 11.9% shrink on flat storage, I'd probably be looking for a different way to manage my inventory. But we have to get a handle and we have to understand shrink. This is the reason that we created Truck Supervisor. Truck Supervisor is the missing link that makes inventory the most important part of a feed management system, not just something that we ignore and overlook. Our objectives with Truck Supervisor is to make it easier to collect accurate harvest data for better inventory management. Knowing how many ton of feed came off of a field, how many ton of feed went into a bunker for various reasons as far as agronomy and total farm feed efficiency. So Truck Supervisor, The thing when we set out to put it together is that we knew that when it came time to harvest, we couldn't slow things down. So we use a clicker system that allows a truck filled with silage to basically roll onto a truck scale. Click a clicker, the weight is put into inventory, and the truck continues on its way without a disruption in the harvest routine. The other thing that we use is a card system so that we can better manage incoming feeds. So if a semi shows up with a load of cottonseed, the driver just goes and grabs the card, swipes it across a card reader, and now the system knows that it's cottonseed that's coming in. We also weigh milk trucks so that the milk weights that leave the dairy can automatically load into Feed Supervisor. So now we've got incoming inventories, we've got outgoing milk, we know exactly what's fed to our cows so that we can have the ultimate feed efficiency calculations when all of these things are coming together. Within Harvest Supervisor, we're also able to monitor how many ton of feed is coming across the truck scale going into a bunker in a given hour. So I'm going to show you that here in a little more enlarged screen so that you can see ton per hour through the day. Better able to manage how much weight you're packing with so that we can better manage density in a bunker. You can look at these graphs and then analyze data based on the hour, the day, the week, etc., to know how many tons are being brought into your system. So this example shows on a given day where silage is being harvested, the time stamps for each one. So you can see about every 4 minutes, 3 to 4 or 5 minutes, we're bringing a load of silage across the truck scale. The beauty is that at the same time, a load of commodity mix showed up, and we were able to record that as an incoming weight as well without disrupting the harvest routine. We can look at fields and know how many ton came from each field. We can know how many ton went into each bunker, etc. So that the full understanding of inventories and what it took to raise a crop can be recorded. You know, so often we try to put a value on, say, alfalfa, but we really don't know what it's costing to raise that alfalfa until we have the ability to record how much we actually yielded. So feed efficiency can help us to evaluate the nutritional performance of our diets. It can help pinpoint profitability within our feeding program based on the market that we sell milk in. And analyzing feed efficiency at the farm level, incoming feeds versus what leaves, provides the means with which we can maximize our potential and better understand our footprint moving forward. And with that, I want to thank you for your time today, for taking time to look at feed efficiency with me. My contact information is on the screen. If you'd like to reach out with any additional questions or comments about the presentation, I'd be glad to take time and talk to you about that. So once again, thank you and have a great day.